So the other day I made this hammer, and then I made this angle finding tool, and I started thinking maybe I can do inlay. I got the idea from the cypress wood I put here. Maybe I can put a piece of inlay, a cypress wood down. So what I did is I practiced first on this piece of plywood. I cut a strip in there with the table saw, and then I cut, that's a table saw width length right there, and then what I did is I cut another strip to go into it and I sanded it. That was my test piece. Then I got a little bit more cool about it, I guess, make it look a little bit better, and I inlaid this on this oak. And it's not perfect, you have to have 45-degree angle. So what I did is I got a piece of my cypress that I milled, and I cut a strip, and then I cut angles on it, and then I'm using this piece, and the angles, this fits in here, and then now when I sand it, there should be flush on all sides. So that's what I'm going to try now. So with this angle finder, I found also that there's a problem with this thing too, that sometimes I need this, when this wing nut is out, sometimes I need to flip it over and use the other side, but the wing nut's down, so you can't do that. This is the only side that's has the recess in it for the screw or the countersink. So I'm going to countersink the other side of it so I can flip this thing around when I need to, and I'm going to run my table saw blade right down the middle of this on both sides, and then I'm going to inlay a piece of cypress right in here. If I mess this up, I mean, I have to make another handle for my angle finder. So it's a one-shot deal on this thing, man. So hopefully I can make this thing work, and it's already finished and everything. I have to resand it and redo that, but I'm gonna try it and see what happens. I think before I cut my slot for the cypress wood, I think I'm gonna go ahead and countersink the other side, and hopefully I can get this right without messing it up. There we go. Okay, both sides of those countersunk. And let's go do the inlay. Let's try that. Okay, to cut this, I put my zero clearance insert in because this one's bent and it's flexible and it just messed up. But I also had to take out my scribing knife, so I have to be really careful not to get kickback on when I do this. And this runs real smooth in here. I'm gonna set the blade height to the depth of this little strip of wood that I've cut from my other examples and my other test pieces. It's gonna go a little shy of that, and I don't want to go too deep. I don't know what's gonna happen. There we go. Now it's got to be able to run this right through the center of that, so I got to set my fence up. Almost had an error there. Anyway, that's not too bad. Now I can get my piece of wood inlaid in there and sand it down. I discovered after doing this 4 million times, rather than wasting a bunch of cedar that it takes forever to, you know, mill from a branch, I use a piece of scrap wood. I run it on my bandsaw, and then I get the piece and I test if it fits in what I want to insert it in. I was doing it on the table saw, but it seems to be pretty dangerous, so I'm gonna stick with doing it this way. You just get the piece, and if it doesn't fit, like this one doesn't, you move the fence a little bit until it does. So I'll be doing this for a while until I get a piece like this. Let's go. Find it later. Man, that's just the tolerance on that. I don't know. You should be able to have to sand that down a little bit to get it in there. But, I mean, I guess I could try a strip for real and see what happens. There you go. sanding and gluing it in there, and I'll have cypress wood insert on my little angle finder tool, and to revarnish it, and that's it, man. So let's glue them in there. Let's sand and glue. Just gotta sand all these little fuzzies off there. Now I just gotta glue my strips in the side of here, and gotta be straight. I can't go too far up on the top of this. I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna glue these in real quick. We'll glue this right. And line up the front. A little bit too. That's right. Down here. First one. The second one. It sounds like it's wet too, so this artist will help seal the seam. A little bit of seam here. There we go. There we go. Wipe it off and sand it. Now some fine sanding. There we go. My cypress on my Cedar wood on my angle tool, and let it dry, and apply one and we'll get. The stain's dried, and I have both sides beveled now, so now I can use the tool on both sides and take the bolt out. So it really doesn't matter which way it goes in, and seems to work really well, just like it did before. However, this time I have the really cool Cedar inlay. So there's it works great. There's the inlay right there. There's the bottom. I was going to go all the way across, but I think that would be overdoing it, especially for my first time. But it looks real good and moves like it would do before. No problems there, and got the nice cedar inlay in there. Looks great. Here we go. Done.